According to Cashman, there are types of leaders who lead by coping and leaders who lead by character. If you as a leader are reflecting upon your authenticity, it's often helpful to ask some other questions first. Where is my leadership coming from? Where are my beliefs and values coming from? Do your actions originate from deep within yourself, or are they coming from a more superficial, limited place? Is your leadership only serving yourselves, your career, and your success, or it is also focused on your team and organization? Is your leadership arising from your character, the essence of who you are? Or is it derived from a pattern of coping guided by a concern for image, safety, security, comfort, or control? Can you give an example of a leader who led by coping? Perhaps someone that you worked with. I have come across and talked to numerous people throughout my career who've shared their experiences of having bosses who are frequently angry and yell at their subordinates. In fact, I have worked with individuals like that in my coaching practice. I find it challenging to perform at my best when I'm working under such conditions because it causes me to shut down and keep my head down, and I do not let it get the best of me. On that note, I'm curious about your experience with such individuals. Have you worked with bosses who exhibit similar behavior? If so, how do you cope with it? On the other hand, I've also had the privilege of working with great bosses too. I remember one of my first bosses who was incredibly supportive and invested in my personal and professional development. She recognized my potential and took the time to guide me whenever I faced difficulties. Once, I remember when I was working on a project and got stuck, she sat down with me and coached me, allowing me to do the project independently without her help. So the question now is, why should anyone be led by you? Professors and authors Robert Goffey and Gareth Jones, in their Harvard Business Review article entitled Why Should Anyone Be Led by You?, talk about how leaders should selectively show their weaknesses, read subtle cues, and pick up patterns in other people who work for them and for you, giving tough empathy. As a leader, it's crucial to understand when someone needs to be pushed beyond their comfort zone, even if they're hesitant to do so. In such instances, the leader must motivate and encourage their team members to reach their full potential. I like to call this ruthless compassion. Goffey and Jones advise that you're not just soft and easy on people. You use your differences to your advantage. And if you don't know what those differences are, you can ask. However, leaders have to be careful in showing their weaknesses. One shouldn't display a weakness that could lead to being attacked. For instance, let's say you're assigned to lead a team that is having challenges. If you come in and say, I don't know what to do here, that could turn off your team. We want confident leaders. On the other hand, you can be humble and show that you don't know everything. It also draws people to you. So there's a really fine distinction here. In another Business Review article titled Making Business Personal, authors Robert Kagan, Lisa Leahy, Andy Fleming, and Matthew Miller discuss how individuals often have a second job of preserving their reputation. This may involve always appearing put together and hiding any perceived inadequacies. These individuals don't want anybody to see that they don't know what they're doing about a specific thing. The authors suggest that there's a continuum between humility and confidence. While being humble can be valuable, if taken too far, it can lead to insecurity and you look insecure. On the other hand, if someone is overly confident, it can come across as arrogance. So I'd like to ask you, where have you experienced this second job yourself? And what has been the cost?